Next we have Philippa Lawson from CIPIC, which is a group based at the University of Ottawa working on protecting the internet.
Bonjour tout le monde. Hello, it's great to see you all here today. Je m'appelle Philippa Lawson. I'm the director of the Canadian Internet Policy and Public Interest Clinic, CIPIC, at l'Université d'Ottawa. Just a few words about CIPIC. We were started up in 2003 as a clinic to give students at the university a chance to work with public interest lawyers on real live issues involving the internet and other new technologies. The mission of CIPIC is to ensure balance in law and policy making and to promote the public interest in internet policy, especially when large commercial interests are threatening to undermine it, as we're now seeing in the battle over net neutrality. Il n'y a pas une question aussi importante à l'Internet que le principe de la neutralité de l'Internet. And by net neutrality, we mean ensuring that all content on the Internet is equally accessible, so that the smallest startup site can compete on a level playing field with large corporate websites. We mean not letting internet access providers charge big bucks for a fast lane so that well-financed websites get premium access to consumers while everyone else is relegated to a much slower lane that makes them less attractive to internet users. We mean not letting internet access providers take advantage of their gatekeeper powers to block or degrade access to sites they don't like. Nous ne voulons pas permettre aux grands fournisseurs de l'Internet discriminer contre les fournisseurs concurrents, discriminer contre leur trafic. We mean not letting the big internet access providers discriminate against competing service providers by degrading their traffic. And we mean recognizing the conflicts of interest that plague this industry and forcing companies that carry our traffic to keep their hands off it. The Internet has become what it is in large part because of the principle of neutrality on which it was designed. Until recently, companies that carried traffic on the Internet treated it in a neutral manner. They didn't discriminate against certain types of traffic, and they didn't try to levy extra charges for value-added service. In other words, for a fast lane, available only to themselves and those who can afford it. But this is what they are now threatening to do. And if we want to stop it, now is the time. A lot of you are here because you're tired of having your internet service throttled by the very company that promised you reliable, high-speed service. You may feel you've been sold a bill of goods and you're not getting the service you paid for. It's time that we as consumers held our service providers to account for the promises that they make to us. And it's time that the internet service providers who engage in these traffic-shaping practices come clean and tell their customers what's going on. So to all the Canadian internet service providers who are traffic shaping, we say stop hiding the fact that you're discriminating against certain kinds of traffic, and stop advertising speeds and capacities that you can't deliver or you're not delivering. So now that they've been called on the carpet, Rogers and Bell say that they have to throttle peer-to-peer traffic because it uses up too much bandwidth. Well, we say, whatever. If you can't deliver it, then don't promise it. And if there's more demand than supply, then build more capacity. It's time.
Smarter.
Comcast, in the States, Comcast was doing the same thing. They were recently called to account before the FCC in the United States for their traffic shaping practices, and before the FCC could issue a decision, they relented, saying that they could and they would find other ways to manage their traffic. So if Comcast can manage its traffic in a neutral way, why can't Bell, Rogers, Shaw, and other ISPs do the same? And for Parliament to take measures to protect the neutrality of the Internet, to stop the big telecom companies from discriminating against traffic and content they don't like, and from turning what is now a level playing field into a two-tiered one. We have two important provisions in the Telecommunications Act right now. Section 27 and Section 36 prohibit telecom carriers from engaging in unjust discrimination and from controlling content that travels over the networks. Now, these are important provisions that go a long way towards, or they should be, protecting net neutrality. But they are under fire. Big ISPs say we don't need the rule against unjust discrimination and that we should just let market forces decide what is right and wrong. But I ask, what kind of market forces are they that allow service providers to throttle their own customers after having promised them reliable high-speed service? If market forces were solving the problem, we wouldn't be here today. The reality is that we've allowed companies with a stake in both content and carriage to control how content is delivered over their networks. This is a recipe for problems, and so it's no surprise that they are looking for ways to favor their own content and traffic over that of their competitors. We need clear legislation that prohibits these kinds of actions. Let me ask you, do we really want to let fundamental decisions about how the internet develops be made entirely by commercial interests with huge profits at stake and with the ability to exercise gatekeeper powers?
No!
We need to protect the internet from being hijacked by vested interests. We need to ensure that value on the internet comes from the quality of the content and the applications online, and not from control of access to them. So to the policymakers of Canada, we say the internet has already generated huge social and economic benefits and promises to generate more. But this promise will be seriously compromised if we don't take action now to protect the principle of neutrality on which the internet is based. So merci Charlie Angus. We look forward to his private members bill, and we say save the internet, préservez notre internet. Thank you. Merci.
Merci, Philippa. Next, we have Tom Copeland from the Canadian Association of Internet Providers. The CAIP recently brought the issue of throttling to the CRTC and managed to get over 1,000 signatures on a petition against throttling. Tom Copeland.
Thank you, and thank you for coming to Ottawa today. Even though we made the application to the CRTC, it was you folks that got us there. It was your complaints to your ISPs about the traffic that you were experiencing, or the lack thereof. It was you that brought the media attention to it, and ultimately brought the CRTC's attention to it. So thank you for that, and keep up that good work. Along with those 1,000 signatures and comments that have gone in, over 1,000 now, close to 1,200 have gone into the CRTC. We need more help. We need you to get out to your MPs, as Charlie Angus was saying. Voice your discontent to them and let them know what you think of Bell's and Rogers' activities. The CAPE's concern about this is first that the large players that own the networks and also own a great deal of the content in Canada shouldn't be able to discriminate as to what type of content you get and where you get it from. That should be up to you. Your internet providers should be neutral in the picture. They should provide the pipe. They shouldn't discriminate against that content. That's a fundamental basis of how the internet was established, what it's been used for up until recently, and we think that needs to continue. We're set to try and make that continue. But we do need your help. We need you to continue to support the independent ISPs, those that aren't affiliated with the large telcos. We need you to show your support by leaving the large telcos, going to the smaller providers, signing up with them, helping them get the message to Ottawa and get the message to the politicians. Show the big guys, show them with your wallets that you're not going to put up with their activities and their discrimination of what you do on the internet. We need your help. We'd like to see you continue supporting us and our members, and I thank you for doing that so far. Thanks very much.